Hey guys, Mike here. So, oh boy, what a day in the market, and I mean, what a major sell-off. And it wasn't just American hedge funds selling this stuff. It was kind of like a global phenomenon. This is something that started, again, when we were all sleeping, and then it just ramped up even more once America came online and started dumping it even harder. And so I'll show you what that was, why it happened. We'll also go into Tom Lee's latest interview, and the reason why is because of what he says. And I would say, watch what a perma bull says. If they start to put out warnings, you're like, okay, very interesting. And then we'll go into a few charts because Semiconductor got absolutely just shellacked today. But here's what I believe, and you may have a different opinion on this, but I can track it down to the timeline for you, what happened. And what happened was, here we go, the BOJ, Bank of Japan, says it will lift rates if outlook is realized. This is their governor, I believe it was, saying this right here. And when we scroll down, you can clearly see that this news started hitting at around 2 a.m. and then it was updated at around 4:50. But when you go over to NQ here, which is the futures chart, you can see we start to come down right here and sell off. And so during that time frame, then we kind of say, okay, are we accumulating? Or are we fixing to see distribution right here? And then as soon as our market opened up, boom, see you later, down we go. And it was like a waterfall, and it just kept going all day long. But this is what we talk about when, one, we say we got to see what happens overnight. Two, these levels, right? This is Friday's low, the other one's Thursday's low, and it was pretty much almost textbook in a way, because it would come down, break a level, try to retest it, fail, come down to the next level, which was Thursday's low, would end up breaking that one, come back up, retest, fail, and away we go. We didn't have one single green hourly candle today, not one, right? And then we get this one right here, boom, broke that one. And so just kept on selling off, all day long. And I mean, not even a retracement, which I'll show you in just a minute. And then once we broke that level, you guys start going ahead and going, okay, well, here's some structure in place for support. Is it going to bounce, right? And that's what we're going to see what happens overnight. Do they start to move it back up? Or, when Japan comes back online, do they start selling this thing down more? That's what we're going to have to wait and see. We'll know by the time we wake up in the morning, that's for sure. We'll know a lot by midnight, actually, if you want to be honest. But, just looking at this right here, that's going to be the big thing. You can see right here, if you look on the 4 hour, obviously downtrend right there. Then you get what we maybe thought was accumulation, ended up being distribution, and down we go. And so the real question is going to be to see if we end up going to the bottom of this megaphone type pattern right here. That's really going to be the thing to watch out for, which will put us below this area we are at right now, okay, which would not be good. And you can see what I'm talking about when I say like no retracement, man. This thing came down. Usually you have a counter rally or something's going to happen. And this one's like, nope, just kept on going down and kept on going down and kept on going down. And what I mean is, normally, I've showed you to it many times in this market, when you have a sell down like this, you'll get a big move up like this, from 0.5% to a 4% really, and try to rally back up. But today was not that day. And when you look over here, you can see on the DXY versus the yen right here, how it had a nice big green candle up. And obviously the last time that happened, they did not like it. It's called the carry trade, right? And so when you look at this, here's when you know you're in real trouble. As long as we don't break this trend line, we're going to be okay. If we break that trend line at 2020 and it starts to break out against our dollar, that is not going to be a good thing, okay? The reason why I know that, because all I got to do is look in the past and say, let's look at the last couple times this happened. You can clearly see a trend line. It breaks out right here, right? The yen versus our dollar. And what happens to the market? It's a mess, right? These are like 13 to 15% drops twice, and you can see it's just nothing but sideways. Right here, same thing. You can visibly see a trend line, but you see it going down. Market's going crazy up, right? All of a sudden, it breaks that trend line, starts moving up, and what's the market do? The market becomes a hot mess. We end up having one area where it's almost a 19.97% drop, multiple other drops, and it's just sideways. Right, so the market doesn't like that. So as long as we don't break that trend line, which I'll watch for us, we should be fine. But when you look at the sectors today, what do you see green? What's the three big ones up there? All defensive, right? Then you start scrolling down, and it's all these other sectors are red. And look at Soxel, PSCT, which is small caps, big tech right there, the big 8 right there. That's fintech, energy, cyber, you name it, industrials, communications. Just absolutely got hammered today, but especially the semiconductors. That was the big one right there. And I don't know if you remember me showing you this yesterday. For those who watched, option trader spent $9 million betting on September volatility spike, 350,000 contracts. And what he did was he bought a spread is what happened. And you can see right here was the spread. So he's looking, it expires September 18th. And he's got the VIX 22/30 call spread right here. So he needs to jump to 22 to really make money, and the gains are going to be capped at 30. But you can see, nice big 25% move up. I think it actually went up to 30% today. Not at 22, that's for sure. But we saw how quickly the VIX can rise. So this person really only needs to go up 18 more percent. And obviously pretty good bet, because I mean, seriously, you can see it went up to 55 last time we had this carry trade, you know, scare and everything else going on. So we'll see if this person makes money. I'll keep you apprised of that one. But also, you know, just to let you know, the manufacturing data, guess what? Still in recession in this sector, still in contraction, whatever you want to call it. Just an absolute hot mess for sure. Other data didn't come in where the market wanted to come in at either. And we're going to have a lot of data, right? I mean, the big one's really setting up for more Thursdays, Friday. But, you know, it's going to be a lot of data. And here's what Tom Lee had to say to investors about September.
We always make lows in October, or we have many, many times, which means usually a lot of times September was not great.
I think investors should be cautious for the next 8 weeks. You know, September.
Next 8 weeks, be cautious.
Yes.
You're not always cautious.
That's right. When the market's been up 7 of the 8 months this year, so we know it's an incredibly strong market. But we also have the September cuts, and we have the election, things that'll get people nervous. I think in the next 8 weeks, people get a chance to buy. So I think it's good to be cautious, but just ready to buy that dip.
And so let me know what you think about that in the bottom. Now, when you look at the index real quick, you can see here's a gap right below us, right there. The bulls and bears, like who's in charge, right? The RSI is right there, you know, 49.50 area. When you look at Qs, whole different story. Filled that gap below the 50 now. Sitting there on top of the 100, it's kind of stopped it today. And then you got another gap coming up right below it. So the question is, we go to the hourly, are we going to fill this gap coming up right below it and lose the 100? Obviously, that could definitely happen. So we'll see, because obviously big tech is way behind than where the SPY or the S&P is at right now. You can see the bears have been in charge of that one for a little while now, as we like to say. Now, Nvidia, do you remember what I said about Nvidia yesterday? And then you got, obviously, Nvidia, which if it starts to get a bid, you would expect all the other semiconductors to finally get a bid. Okay, it is stuck down between the 50 and the 21 EMA, which now are right at the same spot and below that descending trend line. So if it breaks through all three of those, gets a bid, call sweep, start rolling in, then you can see a big move up, right? But it's also a great rejection point. And it got totally rejected. I mean, absolutely crushed today. And you can see it right there. Big red candle came back down to our shaded area, which has been there, I think, for months now. So now you're looking at, what's this thing below? Close below the 100 moving average, below the 21 EMA, below the 50 moving average, close below that ascending trend line now. And so, you know, if it can hold this shaded area, that's great. But you could see me watch 105, 106 area if it does come back down there. And so this, you know, when you look at it, I think there's a gap right down, right there. Yeah, you can see it right there where that moving average comes to the left. So around 104, 106 would fill that gap right there if it does come down. Right now it's in another gap and filled that gap today. So we're filling gaps, that's for sure. It's gap fill mania going on right now. Now you look at Avgo, remember they got earnings this week. I believe Nancy Pelosi has those July 2025 calls, if I'm not mistaken. And so when you look at this one, obviously not looking the best. The bears are in charge on the RSI, that's for sure. But when you look at it, you know, it's lost its 50. It's coming down to the 100 right here. But when we pull up, you know, for me, that was like a shoulder. That was like a head. And it was like an inverse head and shoulders. I want to see if this is what forms, okay? And that's a terrible line. I'm going to draw a straight line through here. You can see that will be your neckline, right? So if it gets, you know, reports good earnings, boom. This thing starts to move up. Obviously, it'll carry the rest of the semiconductors with it. Bad earnings, going to help drag the whole sector down. Once again, they report on Thursday. So definitely watch out for this one and see if it starts to round out after it hits that 100 moving average, assuming we moved on that far. You can see the ETFs that hold all these look terrible, to be honest with you. Lost the 50, lost the trend line, lost the 100. Coming down, where the 200 is in this area, which has been an area of support for SMH, right? And its biggest holding is Nvidia. Okay, so if Nvidia don't recover, SMH is going to have a hard time. Stocks right here. Obviously, you can see this one right here, sitting on the 200 and kind of like just a smidge below it, but it's also 50, the 100, the trend line, and here it is. And so Semiconductors, which has been leading the way, obviously getting absolutely hammered like dog meat. And so is, I think we all know it was due, by the way, but I mean, I think you can say that in the comments for sure. And so when you look at it, obviously what you're looking for here on this one had a nice trend going up. That trend has been broken. So now you're looking at a more shorter term time frame and seeing if obviously this one right here, now that broke that level right there, can try to say, okay, this is a low. Is this going to be a high, right? And then is this going to be a higher low? Can it set a higher low on a shorter term time frame? That's going to be a big thing to watch out for on both of those ETFs, without a doubt, because if semiconductors don't come back, you can't imagine QQQ, XLK, all of them are going to be coming back up, right? Now, when it comes to earnings, you're going to be looking at Dick's Sporting Goods, Dollar Tree, Hormel. Look over here, and you got C3AI, Hewlett Packard, ChargePoint. Again, I still can't believe as a company that's still in business. And then when you go over to the data, you're going to end up with JOLTS job openings after the bell, 10 o'clock, okay? Factory orders month over month, and then maybe the beige book might have something to do. I doubt it's going to have much reaction on that. And so, tomorrow will be interesting. Just buckle up for another good day, and we'll see, what Japan does tonight when they come online, whether they sell us down or actually start to buy it back up at these cheaper prices. We'll have to see, because again, seasonality-wise, first 2 weeks of September is supposed to be more positive, and then the second half is supposed to fall off a cliff. But we'll see if they ramp that up early. So let me know what you think down in the bottom and stuff. If you got any different opinion than I do, I like to read that. And so please hit the like and subscribe button on the way out. Really appreciate you guys watching. Feel free to sign up for the membership. Here's everything you get in it, less than a McDonald's combo. And I will see you guys for another fun day tomorrow.